Picture this: a world-renowned broadcaster like the BBC, funded by millions of public viewers, locked in a fierce showdown with a former U.S. president over an editing glitch that twisted his words, and now facing demands for billions in compensation. It's a clash that pits journalistic integrity against personal vendettas, and it's got everyone talking. But here's where it gets controversial. Should taxpayer money ever line the pockets of politicians, no matter the grievance? Former BBC Director General Tony Hall has firmly stated that the corporation should absolutely refuse to hand over any funds to Donald Trump, even as the ex-president vows to pursue a massive lawsuit. Trump, after receiving the apology he insisted on for a deceptive edit in a Panorama segment about his January 6 speech, is still pushing ahead with legal action, claiming damages up to $5 billion, roughly £3.8 billion. In a chat on BBC One Sunday with Laura Kuenssberg, Hall was unequivocal. "No, it shouldn't happen," he declared. "I don't believe we should consent to any payment going to Donald Trump. We're dealing with funds from license fee contributors, essentially public money, and that just wouldn't be fitting." Hall, who retired from his 7-year tenure as Director General in 2020, acknowledged the video manipulation as a grave mistake that ought to have been addressed sooner in the editing process. Yet he expressed deep concern that the dedication, thoroughness, and commitment to neutrality exhibited by BBC reporters might be overshadowed in the ensuing uproar. For newcomers to this media drama, imagine impartiality as the cornerstone of trusted journalism. It's the practice of presenting facts without favoritism, ensuring viewers get a balanced view. When that's called into question, it erodes public faith in news sources, much like how a single biased story in a history textbook could skew our understanding of events. This dispute stems from a Panorama episode last year scrutinizing the 2021 Capitol riot, sparking claims of bias against the network, and prompting the exits of 2 top executives, Director General Tim Davie and News Chief Executive Deborah Turnus. To give you a sense of the stakes, Panorama is the BBC's flagship investigative program, known for deep dives into real-world issues. Think of it as a high-stakes documentary series that has exposed scandals and shaped public opinion for decades. The fallout here highlights how one error can ripple through an entire institution. But this is the part most people miss. Fresh allegations emerged on Thursday suggesting the BBC misled audiences about Trump's 2021 Capitol address as early as 2 years before the Panorama blunder aired. In a June 2022 Newsnight broadcast, they reportedly aired a trimmed version of his speech, eerily similar to the problematic Panorama clip. Newsnight, for those unfamiliar, is a nightly current affairs show tackling complex topics with expert analysis. A BBC representative responded to these new claims, uncovered by the Telegraph's Daily Tea podcast, by affirming, "The BBC upholds the strictest journalistic guidelines. We've been alerted to this issue and are investigating it right away. It's a reminder that media standards must be ironclad, as even unintentional tweaks can fuel debates about authenticity and transparency." The BBC, having pledged not to rebroadcast the Panorama installment, extended a formal apology to Trump on Thursday, yet insisted there was no valid legal ground for him to sue the publicly funded outlet over what his legal team labeled a slanderous documentary. Just the next evening, aboard Air Force One, Trump fired back at reporters. "We'll take them to court for something between $1 billion and $5 billion. Likely next week. We've got no choice." Meanwhile, BBC Chairman Samir Shah personally apologized to the White House and briefed lawmakers, describing the edit as a judgment lapse. Culture Minister Lisa Nandy followed up, calling the apology appropriate and essential, underscoring the political layers involved. The chaos at the BBC intensified when an internal memo leaked last week, exposing the manipulative edit. In it, Trump seemed to utter, "We're heading to the Capitol and I'll join you. We fight like hell." But the actual transcript revealed a different story. "We're marching to the Capitol to rally for our courageous senators, congressmen, and women." It was over 50 minutes later that he added, "And we fight." "We fight like hell." This juxtaposition paints a picture of how context can dramatically alter meaning. Much like quoting a chef saying, "I'll chop those veggies," without mentioning it's for a salad. Not a threat. Trump himself blasted the edit in a Friday interview on GB News as utterly unbelievable. He elaborated, "I delivered an inspiring speech, and they warped it into something ugly. Fake news was a solid label, but it's too mild. This goes beyond phony. It's downright crooked." And this is where opinions diverge sharply. Is Trump overreacting to protect his image? Or is this a genuine assault on free speech and truthful reporting? Could paying out set a dangerous precedent, where powerful figures silence critics with deep pockets? Or does the BBC deserve accountability for editorial lapses that could mislead millions? As we unpack this tangled web, it begs some big questions. Do you think public broadcasters should ever compensate politicians for media mishaps, potentially using your hard-earned license fees? Is the BBC's apology enough, or does this erode trust in journalism forever? Share your thoughts in the comments. Do you side with Hall's stance, or is there a counter-argument that Trump has a point? Let's spark a respectful debate.